You're listening to Music 101 with your host, Alexxis Steele. Sponsored by Steel Notes Magazine. You can find them at the web, folks, at www.steelnotesmagazine.com.
Hi, it's Alexxis Steele. We would like to welcome this evening the one, the only, amazing Demon Boy. How are you tonight, Demon Boy?
Yeah. From the depths of hell and the gates of heaven, I have arrived.
Oh, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I am very, very humbled to be here today.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's see. We want to delve in for people who are not familiar with you. We would like to get them a little familiar. Sure. I know that originally you came from the depths of New York City, right?
That's right. New York City, born and bred.
Okay. All right. And now from that, you became an international star, not only in music, but also in other avenues too, with your comic book, which we'll talk about.
That's right.
In a little bit. Okay.
That's right.
All right. So do you want to tell me, how did the birth of Demon Boy come about?
Well, I launched the entire Demon Boy concept in February of 2009 at the New York City Comic Con at the Jacob Javits Center. That was literally the first public appearance of Demon Boy.
Okay.
I spent the better part of 8 months creating and developing the character and what I wanted to do with it. And now we have to flash back, and everybody's got to put their mind back to the year 2008, 2009. Grunge came and went. New metal was kind of, slanting its way out. But what had happened is I come from the old school days of glam metal, the 80s, and where you wore costumes on stage. And when you went on stage, you wore an outfit specifically because you were performing. What grunge and new metal did to that was got rid of that, and guys were coming on stage in their street clothes. And because all of a sudden that was the trendy thing to do. So being an old glam rocker, and I'm sure all the glam rockers out there, they can understand this and sympathize with it. I felt like, why? I don't like watching guys in their street clothes. If I want to see that, right, I'll walk down the street to my neighbor's house and watch the kids jamming in their garage.
Absolutely. That's like a garage band.
Yeah, it's like, you don't put a garage act on a stage. You practice that way, but you have to, put it on. You're putting on your show and performing. So at that time, 2008, 2009, we had a very small handful of what I like to call theatrical acts. Alice Cooper,
right,
Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson. They were the three biggies. And then you got Ozzy. And then as far as big production stage shows, you have Iron Maiden and a host of other bands like that. Now, that is what I feel you get your money's worth when you go to see one of those shows. You walk out just, wow, you just saw something, like going to a Broadway show.
Right.
You don't want to go to a rehearsal. You want to go to a show and performance, and you want to be entertained. So I felt that there weren't enough of those characters anymore.
And the audio visual. The whole
exactly. The audio visual element of live bands had just kind of faded off into obscurity just due to how the landscape of the music industry was changing. So a friend of mine said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I really like Alice Cooper and I liked Wednesday 13, Murder Dolls. I said, well, I can come back into the music business and as this character Demon Boy, but I said, I do not want anybody to think I'm knocking off Alice or imitating him or Rob or any of the aforementioned bands that I talked about. I didn't want them to say, oh, he's just doing exactly what that guy does. I wanted to make sure that when I created the character Demon Boy, people said that I was now another one of those.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think you're like any of them.
That's a very, very kind thing to say, because I do not feel like imitate or look like anybody. And I always tell people, I dare you to go throw one name at me that you think I sound like. You can't, because nobody, I am influenced by all of those people, as well as I picked the brains of Gene Simmons, their business sense and what they do as far as marketing and merchandising. So I wanted to encompass the whole package here. And basically I was creating a product that was a part band, yeah, and part media. And we'll tap into the fact that I have the comic book series. So I wanted to become a product, but still keep the respect of people not thinking I was either a sellout or some cheesy act of some guy wearing face paint to cover up the fact that his band wasn't very good or his songs weren't very good. And I have killed that like a landslide. I mean, everybody respects my band. And when I built my band and built the character, when I created Demon Boy, I created the iconic character that I now am, which has brought me, as we mentioned, the the comic books and a video game that I had a few years ago, and I'm now currently working on another one. It's basically because my character, the applications are almost endless. I could be in the movies, I could be a cartoon character. There's so many things you can do with just the imagery of the Demon Boy.
Right.
So the band was the foundation of all that, and everything else just kind of spawned out of that. So when I went to put together the band, I said, I'm going to do what Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper do. They hire the best of the best musicians to play in their bands. So I said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to handpick each guy in my band. And that's what I did. I put advertisements out. And from when I started in 2009 to currently today, there have literally been 39 performers in my act. Right. And they come and go for many different reasons. Some can only stay for a year or two. Some come just to do certain shows. Some tour. Some guys I play with can play with me and record in the studio, but can't go on tour. So I keep a corral of musicians. And the only person to stay with me the longest has been my current drummer, Lightning Lou, who's now been with me about 6 to 7 years. He's been in there for the long haul. So I really appreciate him. But that's just how this band works. You know, we basically have a revolving door. And but as I mentioned, to answer the question again, I launched it in 2009 due to the fact that I needed to see the spectacle brought back to rock.
Right. Okay. All right. So then what about the release of your first CD? When was that and the title of that?
Yeah. Okay. So what we've recently done is a lot of bands during the pandemic, which thank God now is starting to come to a close. It'll probably take a while for it all to be over. But when the pandemic hit, what you saw a lot of acts and bands doing was going back and remastering old audio that they had that maybe was recorded so long ago, the tech wasn't that good. I mean, I even saw bands like Deep Purple, you know, going and picking an album, completely remastering it and reissuing it. So my first album was out. It was just a debut album, just self-titled Demon Boy. So we have now remastered that, and it is now out under the name Rise of the Demon.
Okay.
So the original launch date on that was 2009, and that has some of my hits like Dear God, where I covered XTC's song Dear God. If anybody remembers them, they were kind of big in the 80s. And I took that song and remastered it. And when I did do the Comic-Con in 2009, Fangoria magazine and Fangoria TV came and did an interview with me, and they put that song in the interview. Within 4 months, everybody knew who I was. So there's a big shout out to Fangoria. They were kind of the first ones to get my face splattered out there.
Nice.
So then everything just stayed. It just launched and just kept going on a constant incline from that moment. So then we get up to 2011, and I release Dawn of the Demon, which contains some of my biggest hits to date, like Little Red Riding Bitch, Ravenous, Cemetery Girl, Pain. So that album really just sort of took me from where I was and catapulted me even further, because the songs just took off. And then the music videos that we'll see later in the show, I'm sure, for Ravenous, that was another big pivotal moment of my career taking off. But I guess we can speak more on that when we get to the video.
Well, actually, since we're talking about it, no better time than the present.
Let's do it.
All right, let's take a look at Ravenous by the amazing Demon Boy, and we'll be right back on Music 101.
ravenous, 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 ravenous. Everybody smile and wave like idiots.
Yay!
All right, we're back on Music 101 with the amazing Demon Boy. We were just watching his video, Ravenous. Hey, I was really digging that red convertible.
Ravenous, little MP there. Ravenous. Everybody smile and wave.
Oh, where was that from?
At the end of most of my videos, we were doing this before Marvel started putting those little Easter eggs at the end of the movies. We do a little thing where it fades out, comes back up, and then we put this little funny little skit at the end.
Oh, okay.
That's what we were hearing right there.
Oh, all right, cool. But yeah, so is that your red convertible car?
It is one of the cars I have in a garage full of show cars that are actually owned by somebody else, but yes, I do drive them.
Nice. And what kind of car is that?
It's a 69 Roadrunner.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking awesome car. It's an awesome freaking car. I got to thank Bill Hillick for that as well. He's the one that custom built that car. And like I said, while I'm not actually the legal owner of it, I have access to driving these cars pretty much at my leisure. So
nice, nice. Hey, that's not a bad deal.
But that's a great video. That and actually, you'll see three dancing girls in there. One of them, the one that's with the fangs a lot, that is actually Rebecca Carnage Rampage, who did that music video for me when we released that, and is now the current demon girl in my band right now.
Okay, that's good.
But I guess a lot of the glam people should like that video. I get a lot of references to Motley Crue, and my voice sounding a little bit like Vince Neil's on that.
Yeah, I could kind of see what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like what maybe Kickstart My Heart or something like that. They're thinking.
There you go.
You know
actually, and when I did write Ravenous with my partner at the time, who was Steve Noir, who was the musician on the entire Dawn of the Demon album that you hear playing guitar and everything on there. When we came up with it, and I was writing out the song Ravenous, and he was creating the music, that was one of the mentions. I said, I kind of want something along the lines of how Motley Crue's Kickstart Your Heart is. Fast rock and roll, drag race, hot rod type of song. Right. So again, this goes to what we were talking about earlier, is I use the influences because I love glam metal. And this was my video to show kind of, you could figure out where my background came from. Absolutely. You know, because it has a lot of elements in that video to glam rock, and I get a lot of compliments on it. Yeah,
it's very good. I love it. All right, cool. Okay, so let's see some of your other things that you have on video. Obviously, all the things that you do is a big reference for Halloween time. So people that are really into Halloween would really love Demon Boy, right?
Yeah, you know, I always say we're sort of a Halloween party rock band.
Yeah.
You know, that was another thing with the creation of Demon Boy. There are so many bands doing the angsty thing, and I get that. I get that there's a lot of, you know, depressed teenagers and stuff, and they want to vent. And by listening to blistering metal or whatnot, they get that out of their system. Well, right. I'm one of those guys that thinks outside of the box. So I don't like following trends and doing what everybody else is doing. And if I feel there's too much of one thing, I try to figure out what can I do that is not that. Mm-hmm. So with Demon Boy, we want it to be about positivity and energy. And that is what I like to put into it. It's funny because, like I said, sometimes I poke fun at myself, and we call ourselves the happiest demons you've ever met. You know? So, yeah. You know, most people think I'm going to be all and brutal on it, but you know what? I'm not knocking that stuff, but there's just so much of it. I didn't want to get lost in that sea of bands that do that. I wanted to make sure that I had a little something for the people that didn't want to be pissed off and depressed all the time, you know?
Absolutely. So now you've gained such international recognition. So where are some of the places that you've toured over the years?
We've been to Canada. We have been to many places in England, Russia. all over Europe, several places in Europe. So anywhere from in the UK to further north up near Ireland and Scotland. So what we have done in the past is we don't traditionally do a traditional tour. We do what I call pop-up shows and special events. So if we do go to England, we'll go over for like 2 weeks and perform 3 shows. So we'll perform 1 show here, and then we will drive maybe a whole day to go to a whole nother part. Because if anybody's familiar with England and Europe, it's vast. It's a sort of a small country with like 8 different countries inside of it. So you could say you're in Europe, and you could be anywhere from Germany to the UK. Oh, wow. And we seem like even though the band I'm from New York in the United States, and we've had great success here, I seem to have better success outside of the country. And
I think that overall, you know what I mean, it seems like the metal and the hard rock and stuff like that tends to always go better. I think that the Europeans tend to embrace it more.
Yeah, what I really loved about England was they made me feel like a rock star. I mean, that's another thing. It's like when people talk about me, and like back in the day, I used to have more haters. Like now I don't really see that anymore. But people would try to explain to them, they said, or a band that there are bands that get like kind of jealous of me and stuff. And the problem is that people try to explain to them, they go, here's the thing. When people look at you, they see a musician. When they look at Demon Boy, they see a rock star. Right. So it's the way you carry yourself. You know what I mean? It's being David Lee Roth. You know what I mean? He's a rock star. Certain people are rock stars. Certain people are musicians. And I happen to be lucky that I fell right into that. And everybody sees me that. So when I go to these other countries, like England blew my mind. There were literally like dozens and dozens of people that followed us from place to like I see the same people. And then by the 3rd show, I'm like, I see you guys everywhere. They're like, well, there's like 80 of us and we're just following you around. And it's because they felt they had known me for at that time, like say 5 years, and they felt like they waited forever to see me. So it became like this thing like the Grateful Dead, where they were going to go to every place I was while I was there, because it was like, we don't know when he's coming back. It might be another 5 years. So they wanted to get it all. And it was great. And they really rolled out the red carpet. And like I said, I couldn't lift a finger. I mean, they were just doing so many things for us and just treating us like rock royalty. It was really a pleasure to see that all the hard work that me and my boys have put into it really paid off. Which, again, when you mentioned, like the United States has kind of lost that a bit over the last like 2 decades. You know, it's just a whole different sensation. And unless you've experienced it, it's hard to really explain it to people of the difference. I go to, like, for instance, even in Canada, we weren't there for 4 hours, and I walked out of my hotel room and I got to the street corner, stop sign, and I heard people screaming my name. Because the venue we were going to play the next night was about 3 blocks away. And as soon as I turned the corner, I guess they saw the red hair. And also I just heard my name being screamed from 3 blocks away. And as I got closer, there was like 100 people out in front of the club. And then boom, you get mobbed. And it was the same thing in England. I'm walking around town and there were posters of me on the billboards. And people were just looking at me, then looking at the poster and going, that's that guy on the poster right here, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's very flattering and very humbling.
I bet. That must have been really cool.
It was definitely cool. Anybody that's a musician that knows it, you started out when you're a teenager playing guitar in your room and you dreamt of being a rock star. And then, you know, those days have gone away. You know, it's not the 1980s anymore, and the music industry's changed, and it's really hard to cut through all of that and get recognized. And I just happen to be one of those people. And I've used this term lucky all the time. I say to people I know and people in the business, I'm really lucky to still be doing well. And even during the pandemic, people say to me, don't say you're lucky. You're not lucky. You deserve it. And that really makes me feel good.
Sure.
You know, because it's hard, guys. It's really hard. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. And that's another reason why I run my band very strictly, because we're not here to party and go out and get drunk at a gig. We're here to perform a job. This is our job.
Entertain.
We're here to entertain. We're here to give the people what they paid for. And again, I've always related to Broadway theater. When you go to see whatever show you're going to see, you're expecting to see something, a package deal there. And it's the same thing with my band. When you come to see me, you get everything. You get the whole extravaganza in that one performance, whether I'm opening up for somebody for 45 minutes or I'm headlining for 2 hours.
So that you have elaborate backdrops and all the props and all that stuff, right?
A lot of props. We have our own light show. Now, unfortunately, sometimes when we travel from country to country, I can't bring most of it. So I have to like dumb it down and bring the severed heads and bring as much as I can. Mm-hmm. So that does hurt you a little bit as you travel around, but we try to make up for it. You know, there's a lot of acting in my show because each song, it's like a vignette. So each song has a start, a middle, and an end to it as a performance. And again, that I was learned and schooled by Alice Cooper himself. He has been known to say, like, when kids come up to him and throw him their CD and like, oh, Alice, can you listen to my band? And he says, I feel bad that some of these kids don't get it. What they don't get is when you write a song, you're writing a story. And a story has what? A beginning, a middle, and an end. Right. So have a purpose and a point to it. That stuck with me. And so everything I write, and even when we perform it, when we go to rehearsals and I tell my band, okay, you know, we're doing Ravenous next, it has its own show for that one song. And my dancer has costume changes. There are prop changes. There are things that the band does. And every song is a little bit different. And what we do is we theme everything. And there are certain things we do every single time, but then we ad-lib in between to keep the show fresh. So if somebody is seeing us 3-4 times in a row, they're not going to see the exact same thing every time.
That's good. Okay. Well, what we're actually going to do now is we're going to listen to another song. Another one of my favorites, I Kissed the Dead Girl.
Yeah, very, very popular with the fans, that one.
Oh, yeah. I know. All right, we're going to listen to I Kissed the Dead Girl by Demon Boy, and we'll be right back on Music 101.
To marry me, I kissed a dead girl. These need the maggots and the ones inside. She's the morbid mystic and queen, the sickest girl I've ever seen. Yeah, she makes this dead and green. This really rotten, this morbid. kissed a dead girl. I asked her to marry me. Well, I kissed a dead girl. It's really rotten. It's got a hold of me. She's got a hold of me. It's really rotten. It's got a hold of me. I kissed a dead girl. 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 Well, I kissed a dead girl. Yeah.
All right. We were just listening to I Kissed a Dead Girl by the amazing Demon Boy. And yeah, when you mention Alice Cooper, that kind of, you know, I kissed a dead girl, and like dead babies, you know what I mean? Like the same kind of, you know, sort of on the same line, but not, but you know what I mean?
Exactly. Again, goes right back to what I was speaking. And one of the cool things, we were at a show in England, and all the people that came to the merch table after the show, and we're talking, and hundreds of them were telling me how they are hardcore Alice Cooper fans. Okay. And they were like, they said, we love Alice. They said, Alice isn't going to be touring forever, but soon as he stops, we're just going to continue following you. Because that was another reason with me creating this was it's kind of like a pass the baton thing of, you know, once Alice decides to call it quits as far as touring, you know, these fans are hungry still for something like that. And
so you're going to fill that void.
I'm going to fill that void. And that's what they were explaining to me. And again, such another humbling thing, you know, to hear, to know that they're recognizing you like that. And it's just very, very cool thing.
Oh, absolutely. Sure is. So now, besides your music, which we said we were going to talk about it, you also have your comic book series and also your video games, if you want to tell the fans about that.
Yeah. We had one video game that was out for about 6-7 years, and it was a game that was played inside of a game called Half-Life. So it was like, it had like 9 levels, but you had to enter codes in. So it wasn't like a game that was created and put out in a sense by me or any company. It was created by a bunch of people that did video game work, but they incorporated into this game. And like, I don't understand the tech behind it, but I played it several times, and there's a Facebook page for it. But recently, I had met somebody a few years ago who works doing CG for major motion films. And on the side, he has started developing a Demon Boy video game concept. Now he's creating all the worlds and characters that are going to be in there. And I'm going to get scanned into a 3D scanner where he's going to take that coding, and then he's going to be able to place me inside of these worlds and stuff. Now, what we're doing is this is in its infancy. And the guy's name is Vincent McTiernan. And he has given me about a 45 to 1 minute clip of one of the worlds that leads up to a door that's basically my dressing room and has my name on it. So we're going to tease that out in a few days, probably after this show, probably sometime this upcoming week, in the next 7 to 10 days. We're going to sneak peek that out because he had asked me to, because he wanted to get fan feedback. As far as it developing into a full-blown video game, we need a second artist to come in and take what Vincent has created and turn it into a playable game, because that's a whole nother part of it. So it's going to be a long time off, as much as a year off, but it's in development right now. And the comic books that I'll show you right here. So currently there are 3 Demon Boy comic books out. This is issue number 1. It is drawn by an artist, a German artist called Helmut Epic. He is a very great artist. This is issue number 2, and Helmut did the covers on both of these books. And then on issue number 3, this is issue number 3. I'll try to get it in the good light for you. This cover was drawn by Terrence Muncie, who has worked with some other artists, some other musicians and stuff. He's a freelance artist, and he owns a store called The Dungeon, and I'll give him a quick shout out. This is his store. If you guys, I believe it's in Minneapolis. I can't read that right now, but It's on the book, so if you buy the book, you can get his address.
There you go.
And he owns like a toy store, and he has action figures and stuff like that there. And he travels around the country doing a lot of Comic Cons and selling his artwork. Well, he was gracious enough to do the cover to this issue number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll show you really quick on the inside that these comic books are drawn in a noir style. They're black and white.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So I don't like to give away too much, but let me find this one very, very good shot. I'll try to get out of this one book. So Helmet Epic does all this drawing, and I'll explain of how Helmet does his drawings. He is a realist artist, which means that's the devil inside the book, because this is a story about Demon Boy being kicked out of heaven and spit out of hell. That whole angle of my persona is brought out in these comic books. Demon Boy used to work at the gates of heaven. Lucifer is trying to get Demon Boy to work for him, and Demon Boy is sort of torn between the two worlds. All right, so I'm trying to find this one photo I wanted to get to you inside this one book and show you something a little bit better. Like here's some of the noir style.
Nice.
Okay, so the way Helmet does these drawings is he will take multiple photos of me from things that are out on the internet already or stuff I will send him, and he actually draws the panels. After him and I are the ones that create the stories. We talk on the phone once a week, traditionally on Thursday nights, and we come up with the storylines. Then he will take what we talked about and turn it into the script for the books that will fit into a 22 or 26 page book. So what he'll do with the drawings is he draws actually me from the photos into the book. So the likeness is dead on to how I actually look. This isn't a characterization where the covers are a characterization of me. So don't get me wrong there. These are all characterizations.
Right.
But the artwork inside the book, it actually looks like me the way I am now inside this book. Now, we do things with characterizations. Like I have a lot of guest artists that come in and do what they call pinups and do like a drawing of me that will turn into a poster, and I'll sell them at comic conventions and all. But the interior artwork for this, as I mentioned, is drawn by Helmet in that way realistically. And what we're doing now is these 3 issues are still under my original name that when I came out on the Demon Boy. And people have been calling me Amazing Demon Boy just all the time. So what happened was this last year, I painstakingly rebranded myself to what you see back here. It is now Amazing Demon Boy. So what we're doing with the comic books is this is going to be the end of series 1. We've already started series 2. Issue number 1 will be out about Halloween. And that book will be titled Amazing Demon Boy, which will go along with all of the other rebranding. But you can get these by inboxing me on any of my social media. They are not on my online stores as of yet because as fast as I order them, they do sell very quickly. So I basically just keep them on hand. I've got cases of them here. So if anybody does want them, you go to any of my social media on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, message me and just say, yo, Demon, I want to get those comic books. How do I get them? They're basically $10 a piece, but I make package deals. You can get all 3 for $25. You know, I'm very good on a sliding scale working with people. If you want something, I'm very easygoing, everybody. Just inbox me. Don't be shy. I know a lot of people are shy. But inbox me and just say, hey, I was interested in getting your comic books, and I will walk you through it.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go back actually to your music. Yeah. We're going to check out another one of your videos. Okay. This one is My Coffin with the Amazing Demon Boy. Right. And we'll be right back on Music 101. We're back on Music 101 with the amazing Demon Boy. We're just listening to and watching My Coffin.
Yeah.
Now, how long does it take from the thought to the product? Okay, when you're doing a song.
Surprisingly, a very long time. My songs are very thought out, and I always say I put out all killer, no filler. So my albums traditionally aren't 12 and 16 song albums. That particular song shows up on the Rise of the Demon album, and that has that track on it with several other. Has a version of a Rob Zombie song I did called Demon Speeding, a Ramon song called We Want the Airwaves. So that is on Rise of the Demon. And the video we watched before, this is the hard copy CD to Dawn of the Demon 2.0. This is the remastered CD, everybody. Again, this is on my website, amazingdemonboy.com. And again, you can inbox me, okay? So I just wanted to clarify that. But when it comes to the songs, like there's an album I've been working on now literally for 3 years called Curse of the Demon, and that's going to end up having 5 songs on it. So 5 songs I've already been working on for 3 years. I am such a picky person that I will record vocals and record and then trash it and record it again, and I will do this as many as 10 to 13 different times, where my band is almost frustrated, like, why do you keep? I'm like, because I think I can do better. I think I can do better. So it's not until I'm 110% satisfied that something happens. And right now we're currently, like I said, we have 2 songs in the can for this new album that's coming out. That is 5 songs. The other 3 songs are still going into being mastering and mixed. And we already started on the album that's going to come after that, again, because it just takes me so long to get one album done. But I do go through a lot of, on this album, on this Dawn of the Demon album, is when I met Rich Orth. And he is a dark poet. And I first met him back in the MySpace days. We became great friends. And then over the years, I was reading his poetry. And I think you're going to play this later. I'm not sure, because we were talking in the pre-interview. But Rich was writing all these poems, and I'm looking at his poems. And I fell in love with 3 different poems he had. But I fell in love with pieces of each one of them. And I pulled out the verses I loved, and I wrote Cemetery Girl. And I went back to Rich, and I said, hey, Rich, I really like your poetry. I said, while I can't actually sing your poems, because poetry is different, I said, I did pull 3 things out of 3 different ones, and I put this together, and I made a song, played it for him. He was blown away. So what happened from that point on is me and Rich became like Elton John and Bernie Taupin.
Wow.
We were in each other's heads. So what a lot of the songs, I'd say about 60% of the Demon Boy songs, the lyrics, are a combination between me and Rich Orth writing them. And the way it is I come up with the titles of the song and the theme of the song of what I want it to be about. Right. And then I will write the chorus and the hook, the catchy parts. And then I will show Rich, I will sing it in a scratch track, give it to Rich and say, you write the verses, you write the story in between the hooks. I'm good at writing the catchy hooks and the choruses. And Rich, when our chemistry started working, he started knowing what was in my head, and he would write these awesome verses that became the stories. And we just kind of stuck with that over the years. We've become great, great friends. So he does have a huge input to at least half or more of each one of my albums from the point of this Dawn of the Demon album on, as well as the upcoming music. We have a song coming out called Esmeralda that Rich wrote for me. So that's how it pretty much goes. And you did see me playing guitar in this video, even though technically I'm not the guy playing it on the track. I put an ad out trying to get a guest guitar player, and this gentleman called Dave Reffert, who is originally from the United States but is now teaching music in China, he picked up the job, and he laid down that guitar solo that's on that track, My Coffin. And that's another thing I like to do. I like to feature artists and musicians in my band as well. So I always have the doors open, even for people to give me songs or song ideas or lyrics. I have a lot of fans and good artist people that send me things and be like, here, I think this would fit you. With My Coffin, that was the case. There was this gentleman who prefers to not be named, and he basically wrote My Coffin for me and gave me it and said, I've been waiting 4 years since I heard about you. I've been following you for 4 years. And he's actually a musician himself, and he owns a recording studio. He gave me that song as an idea. He scratched out all the instruments, and then I re-recorded it. So that's where that song came from. So again, not everything just comes straight out of me. It's kind of cool to see that other artists and musicians get it, what I do, and are able to hand me something. And if I feel it's worthy of being a Demon Boy song, then I will take on that project and release that project. So again, that's how I put together pretty much everything that I write. And again, I gotta love it. You know, if I don't love it, I can't tell you how many songs I've recorded that people will never hear. You know, maybe I'll bring them out one day again, or maybe I'll do an album of stuff I never done. And like I said, my song This Halloween is a song called This Halloween on one of my tracks. It took me 8 months to lay down the vocals. 8 months, because I just kept changing it or making it better or tweaking something and tweaking. And again, to the frustration of everybody else involved. But I was like, trust me, I can make it even better. And then I end up with the final product. And I'll be honest with you, every song that I have out, I love to death. I don't listen to it and say, man, I wish I did this or I wish I did that. I am satisfied that it is to the best potential that it could possibly be.
Well, that's good. Well, actually, one of the songs that you mentioned before, we're going to take a listen to right now, Cemetery Girl, and from the amazing Demon Boy. And we'll be right back on Music 101.
pay for taking you from me.
Hey, we're back on Music 101 with the amazing Demon Boy. We were just listening to Cemetery Girl.
Yeah, such a great song. I mean, that ended up being a sleeper hit for us. Did way better than I thought it was going to. And surprisingly, with almost every lineup of band members I've had, that's their favorite song to play.
Really?
Yeah, I was always like, really? It's like Cemetery Girl? Like, oh, I love that song so much. It's the closest.
It has like a different kind of intro, like a long intro to it. And
yeah, and you want to know when it was original, that intro was probably twice as long, and I had to cut it down.
Really? Wow.
It was so long. I was like, wait a minute, this is way too long. I said, tumbleweeds are going by. So we shortened it down to that. But yeah, getting that nice acoustic. That is a Steve Noir playing guitar on that, and he was one of in about probably the second or third lineup version of Demon Boy, and he co-wrote that whole and played that whole album with me. But that's him on guitar right there, and he's an exceptional guitar player, Steve Noir. You can look him up; he's around.
Okay, cool. All right, so I bet that you're anxious probably as things are opening up here, so you can, get to do some shows like the Comic-Cons and stuff, huh?
Yeah. Well, obviously, since it's all recently opening up again, I've already been getting calls from places back in New York. There's a lot of people that don't realize that I moved out of the country, out of the United States. People who watch this all over the world. I was living in the United States till about a year and a half ago. So I actually moved out about 2 months before the pandemic started. So obviously I'm kind of stuck where I was anyway.
Right, sure.
It was okay. It was kind of like I needed the break. I was able to set up another studio and get caught up on some work and certain things. I was getting a little burned out from some of the performances and just the schedule I had. But yeah, of course, I have been getting a lot of offers, and I believe we'll start doing shows again in October in time for Halloween, because obviously that's my time of year and that's my busy season. So most of the people that are inquiring if I'm taking gigs, that's what they're looking at booking me for. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, we're actually going to listen to another song, which is one of my favorite songs. Yeah. And that's Little Red Riding Bitch.
Epic song.
Yes. Yes, it is. We're going to take a listen to Little Red Riding Bitch by the amazing Demon Boy, and we'll be right back.
One on my list, you're everything that a demon spawn could want.
Don't you know what's behind a big bad smile? Well, it's my big bad teeth that gonna eat you in. Hey there, little red riding horse. You're the next one on my list. You're everything that a demon's mom could want. Hey there, little red riding horse. Grant you one final wish. So kneel down low and pray to the demon mind. As he could to catch up with that bitch in the red hood. I'm gonna kill your ass and eat your cupcakes too, 'cause I'm the big bad wolf and it's the end of you. Hey there, little red riding bitch. You're the next one on my list. You're everything that a demon's mom could want. Hey there, little red riding bitch. Grant you your final wish. So kneel down low and pray to the demon mind.
All right, we're back with the amazing Demon Boy. We were just listening to Little Red Riding Bitch.
Gotta love
That's a
that
fun
one.
song.
Yeah, that is totally fun. And live, it's one of the showstoppers. So it's our second to last song religiously. And our demon girl dancer dresses up as Little Red. We've got a wolf, and like, again, as I mentioned earlier, there's the whole fairy tale turns into a nightmare on my stage for Little Red.
Yes, and if I remember from your one show, and I actually
Right.
had a clip of that, you actually did a thing with the storybook.
Yeah, well,
Right.
when I come out, I bring out a giant storybook, and I ask the crowd if they want to hear a fairy tale. We call it a morbid fairy tale. And then we have this whole little, skit that goes on. As I mentioned, we put these skits together. So there's a lot more than just the audio tracks. There's stuff we add. So there's an intro, and then there's a whole thing. And by the end, Little Red is killing the wolf, and there's a whole piece at the end where she rips his head off and everything, and everybody goes crazy and stuff. Yeah, it's a really, really fun song. And of course, it is derivative of the original Sam the Sham song for Little Red Riding Hood. And I actually got Sam's blessing when I wrote that song. I just happened to know somebody whose father happened to be doing some work for the gentleman, believe it or not. And I could not believe, I got the phone call. They said, you're never going to believe this, but my father is a plumber. And guess whose house he's working inside of right now? Sam from Sam. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, give him this and tell him I'm going to do this song. And is he okay with it? He loved it. And he said, just go with it. So it was so great to get his blessing for that song. And I wanted to have this, epic song. And that song has appeared in the soundtrack for the horror movie Cannibal Diner. So if you can get that, it's on DVD. You can just go Google it. I think it's on Amazon Prime. But you will hear that song in the credits, as well as Ravenous is in the movie as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's called Cannibal Diner. Yeah.
All right, good. So let's see. We have one more video that we haven't seen yet that we're gonna take a look at, and that's Pain.
Ooh, yeah. Another sleeper hit. Now, Pain, on my first album, there's a song called Posse of the Living Dead. And then when we did the second album, Dawn of the Demon, we put Pain on there. Both of those songs are sort of rock, metal, hip hop crossovers.
Okay.
And it's along the line of, you know, maybe something on a heavier side of something from the Insane Clown Posse. But those two songs and the one we're going to hear, Pain, did gain me a huge fan base with the Juggalos, the fan base of the Insane Clown Posse. So again, this goes back to something again where I'm crossing genres and getting the rock people to like our music and the metal people. Now, you know, you would say the hip hop people. I mean, really?
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, but you know, we pull it off very well. I have some very influential friends in the hip hop industry that help me get through these songs and actually help me sing them correctly, because I know a lot of people may be down on rap or whatnot, but there is a certain way and style to singing that particular style of music. And me being a rock guy and a metal guy, I actually had to be taught that so it came out right. And we put the song on the album and I really loved it, but I just did not think it was going to be the runaway hit that it became.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to check out Pain by the Amazing Demon Boy, and we'll be right back on Music 101.
Oh, there's the fire in my brain!
Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho!
Very cool. We were just watching Pain by the Amazing Demon Boy.
I love that video. That's
Tiny
probably,
Tim tiptoe through the tulips at the end there.
you want to know what was so cool about that? Half of the video shot in a studio for the band, and then half of it is shot at Dark Side Haunted House, a haunted attraction out on Long Island in New York.
Nice.
So they had a room with the skeletons and an old radio, and it just constantly played that weird, sick, twisted Tiny Tim song.
Really?
And when we got the footage home, it came over the footage, and I said, let's put that at the end of the video because it's so demented.
Yeah.
Gotta put that in there.
Oh, wow. So you didn't like plan it. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, it was there, and it just fits so great. And that's what I love. That video is probably my favorite Demon Boy video. It's one that I just enjoy every time I watch it.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you this. I think for those in our audience watching that were not familiar with Demon Boy, I'm sure you'll be gaining a lot more fans after watching this.
Yeah. So they can see all those videos at on YouTube /Amazing Demon Boy. You can also go to amazingdemonboy.com. So all of my social media that says Amazing Demon Boy, including all the music. Now, we mentioned earlier, one thing I just would like to talk about really quick. I know we're running long. So with the rebranding of the name Amazing Demon Boy, there are still several sites out there, including download sites on Apple and Amazon that say Demon Boy with the albums on there. But if you'll notice, like this one, it does say Amazing Demon Boy. All the rebranded and the new stuff and the remastered stuff is under this. So I would prefer that people shy away from, if you're on a site and it only says Demon Boy and the word amazing isn't on there, go back and retype in Google search with amazing on it and go to those sites. A lot of those other sites are companies I am no longer associated with. So I would prefer that you got all the rebranded stuff. And again, one of the main reasons for you to do that is these have been remastered to the highest quality sound performance. So you're better off getting anything that says Amazing Demon Boy, you're on the right page.
Okay. Very good. Well, I want to thank you so much, Amazing Demon Boy,
Alexxis,
for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Alexxis.
Taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank
and we hope to see you out at a show.
Yeah.
Or a place like a Comic-Con and then somewhere like that where fans can actually come out and meet you and, you know, get your books, your CDs.
Lots and lots of meet and greets I do. If you guys come to the Comic-Cons, you go there. I autograph things all over. I do not charge for autographs at the comic convention, so you can just come there. You can just come by, pick up some free goodies, get some free swag, take pictures with the demon. I'm a lot of fun to be around.
That's awesome. You sure are. That's for sure. And that's great. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. And
thank you, Alexxis.
Yes, you rock out and have a great night.
You too. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.
You're listening to Music 101 with your host, Alexxis Steele. Sponsored by Steel Notes Magazine. You can find them at the web, folks, at www.steelnotesmagazine.com.